All right, good afternoon, everybody. It is 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and this is Leveraging Market Stats to Boost Your Business series. Thank you so much for everybody who's logged in, not just on Zoom, but we're also live on X, which used to be Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I know we have a thank you to everybody who's following us on LinkedIn. We've been getting a large following on LinkedIn. Thank you, everybody there, for following us. And thank you for being here. It's Thanksgiving week. I know there's a lot of things going on this week, so really appreciate everybody logging in and watching it. You're going to get an incredible knowledge and value the next hour because what we do here is we basically release our official statistics. The Miami Association of Realtors owns the Miami MLS, and we release official statistics for October 2023. They're being released today to the media, and you guys are getting it here first. And this program, we've been doing this for more than 2 years, and it's been a big success. And the number one reason why it's been a success is our leaders. We have incredible leaders, and they have incredible knowledge about what's happening in the market today, and where it's going in the future. And today we have one of our best leaders. She is incredible. Please, if you guys could stay on for the next hour, it's going to be, you're going to learn a lot here. I'm going to learn a lot. So, Chandra, Etienne, thank you so much for being here. How are you doing?
Absolutely. I always enjoy doing this. This is amazing. And I'm doing great. Looking forward to the holidays. So, but everything is good.
Excellent. Okay. All right, Chandra. So right off the bat, for everybody who is new, particularly on LinkedIn, maybe they're following this for the first time, watching this, it came up on their feed. Why is it important for realtors to be the market expert and to tell Miami's story?
Well, several reasons. Not only to protect our industry and to protect our business. And what I mean by that is to kind of combat what some of the stuff is on the news, because the media and the news tend to speak about real estate in a very generalized fashion, whereas we know that everything about real estate is location, 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 right? So it's important to, of course, know national trends and things like that, but being an expert in our unique market like Miami, it allows us to not just do our jobs well and be knowledgeable, but allows us to be maybe strategic in our lead generation efforts, advise our clients and our customers appropriately with facts, and not necessarily just regurgitating all of the same stuff that might be on the news, or others might be saying that are not necessarily in the industry. So it's really important to be an expert in our market and to use all of these stats and valuable information, not just for ourselves, but for our clients and our customers as well.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Exactly. Because, the media might have their own narrative that they want to do, but sometimes it's not based on facts. So that's exactly what you said. So be the market expert. Yeah. Uh,
Right.
Okay, so let's move along. So for the next hour, if you guys could stick with us, we're going to go over the official statistics October 2023, not just Miami, but we have Broward and Palm Beach coming up. And most importantly, we're going to hear from Chandra about, the what's happening in the market and how it could help you as a realtor. And so looking further on, here are our future leveraging stats webinars. We've been here, like I said, every single month. And we have the chairman of the board will be with us next month, December 20th. You could go ahead and register for that. We will be there. And then you could see 2024, what it looks like for our news releases. All right. And so this is webinar is being recorded. It's going to be on MiamiRealtorsLive.com, which is our 24/7 video library. And I know one of the main questions that we get, let me go back. One of the main questions that we get is, can I get this PowerPoint? And this PowerPoint, our incredible graphics team, we've loaded this with updated, fresh graphics. And yes, the answer is yes. So if you would like this PowerPoint, if you're on LinkedIn, if you could go in the comment section and put your email afterwards, I'll make sure to tabulate all that. Also, if you're on the Zoom, if you could in the chat section write your email. I will afterwards. I'll go collect them all, and I will email this PowerPoint to you, so you could also use that in your presentations or with clients. All right, next up is sfmarketintel.com. We try to make it simple. We try to put all of our stats, our graphics, our videos on one site, sfmarketintel.com. Easy to remember, I hope. Yeah, bookmark that. And you will see later today, October 2003 stats reports, infographics, and more there later when we update the website. Okay, all right. So let's get into just a preview of some of the stats we're going to see here in this webinar. These are two stats that kind of jumped off the page when I was looking at the statistics for Miami-Dade. 400 to 600,000 condo sales are up 18%. Total pending sales are up 1%. And Chandra, I wanted to ask you about the 400 to 600,000 range condo sales. Thought that was interesting because it's right around the median price, and there's a lot of talk about, yes, Miami has an affordability issue, and that is true, and we are fighting that. But wanted to see what are your thoughts there. I mean, that's a good sign that that we have the demand and we have some of the supply there.
Yeah, so unlike most other markets, we not only have our single family home market and our detached homes, but a lot of our inventory actually lies in the condo market, right? And it always has. So even before the craze of 2021, we had a significant amount of inventory in condos. And as anybody who can drive down 95 can see, they're not stopping in the building, right? So we've been lucky to have enough inventory in some parts of Miami in regards to the condos in order to have some of that absorbed by the demand. So this is a good sign, especially since that is also where our affordable housing inventory tends to lie as well.
Yeah, no, exactly. Very good sign. Let's move over here to Broward. These are some of the top indicators that we saw for October 2023. Single family home sales are up. Showing appointments are essentially even. That's across the board. As we go to Palm Beach, also 400 to 600,000 condo sales are up. Move over to Martin County. October 2023, pending home sales really shot up, but Martin County is a little bit different, very small market. Um, Okay, so let's move on to what continues to be the number one of the hot topics in real estate, and that's mortgage rates. And I was fortunate enough to be at the NAR NXT conference last week, and I saw NAR Chief Economist Lawrence Yun. He made a presentation there, and he talked about how mortgage rates have peaked. He says they have peaked and they were going to head down to the 6% range by spring 2024. That's pretty good timing, right, for the spring home buying. Yeah, spring home buying season. But what do you think about that forecast, Chandra?
Okay, so typically once interest rates go down, affordability goes up for borrowers, right? So I would expect demand to go up, especially since the spring market tends to be historically the most crazy hot market in regards to real estate, like compared to the rest of the year. So if we were to actually be at a peak right now and it go down to the sixes, I would expect that in 2024, we'll be seeing new records being set again, because everything else has not necessarily gone down in Miami. So if interest rates go down, I expect everything else to pretty much go up.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, you talk about the domestic buyers that keep coming from New York and
Mhm.
California, and then you have the international
Absolutely.
buyers. Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. This one here, I took a screenshot of Lawrence Yun's presentation, and I enjoyed this slide here. He talks about pent up sellers. He says they can't wait any longer, and then he looks at the next 2 years. Look at how many newborn babies will be born in the next 2 years. How many marriages, divorces, people 65 years and older, the deaths and new jobs. So very interesting when you look at this, Chandra, right? In terms of these people, they're going to need housing, right, next few
Right,
years.
right. This isn't people who are desiring a home. Like it's just an essential need, you know? So when you look at this, it basically allows for you to kind of gauge how demand is going to go in the future.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So this was something that, with mortgage rates still right in the sevens, hopefully they get down to the sixes, but maybe it's time for realtors to be creative. You got a two for one mortgage buy down program, buying mortgage points. I know this used to be popular and then it kind of went away, but are we seeing like maybe if the rates, let's say, stay in the 7%, realtors will be using this for their clients, you think?
As far as the 2 for 1, the buy downs,
Yeah,
yeah.
any of these programs, yeah.
Yeah, they became they were being pushed and marketed a lot by lenders, especially last year when things went up to 5.5% and buyers started to freak out at 5.5. So yeah, we still see them, we still have them. The only downside is that sometimes it's not necessarily an affordable thing for buyers to take advantage of. However, I am seeing it a lot in new construction. So you'll have a lot of new construction, like they'll say, like, hey, you can buy our new home at 4.5%, if you use their in-house lender. But in reality, what's really happening is they're offering a financial incentive that you're able to use to buy down the rate, right? So it's there, it's an option, and it's definitely something that realtors are using and that lenders are also promoting.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. So in new construction, that's where.
Yeah, I've been seeing it in construction a lot.
Excellent. Okay. All right. So let's go over some of the market fundamentals about maybe about why Miami is different from other markets in the US and how Miami's doing better than other major markets. And these are the reasons why. Let's first look at population. This was a report that came out earlier a couple of months ago about how Miami-Dade had lost X amount of residents, and when you look at the stats, yes, it went down during the pandemic years, but that was right, Chandra. I mean,
I
it
mean,
was
nobody was
closed. The
able to
borders
fly
were closed.
in.
Right.
Nobody was able to come.
Yeah.
So I mean, Miami is very unique in the sense that our buyers come from everywhere almost. Like so when you have a situation where international travel is at a halt, of course, we're going to see less people moving here. So as that's why you'll also see that as soon as everything kind of opened up and we were no longer considered to be in a pandemic and international travel started to happen again, like the population just surged right back up again to the point where we ended up netting more people than before. So I think I read that in 2020, um, like the number of people who moved here where it was like significantly less, and then now already up at January to I think April of this year, the number of people that have come here is already like a third of everybody that came in 2021. So it's that the numbers here were clearly skewed.
Yes, they were skewed. And this graphic here points out exactly what you just said. 2022 international migration is higher. It was higher than 2019. So it's exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about this needs to be reemphasized about how all the global financial companies that come here and the tech companies that come here, our great design team here at Miami Realtors put together these two graphics. By the way, you guys could feel free to use and to kind of tell Miami story and take a look at Blackstone and Goldman Sachs. These are major companies that are now calling South Florida home.
Yeah, I mean, it plays to the just overall wealth migration here, right? So it's also what's keeping our home prices afloat and not allowing them to come down, because the people who are moving here have money.
Yeah, and there you go. Here's a look at the average adjusted gross income. This is 2021. Wait until you see the 22 numbers once we get those, but that's eye-popping. Yeah, exactly what you
Yeah.
said. Okay, and so what exact counties are they coming from? We took a look at our excellent chief economist, Gay Crortone, Miami Realtors chief economist. She took a look at IRS migration data, and these are the top counties that are moving to Miami. And take a look. Not a surprise, New York, LA, and Kings County, New York. All right, and then let's move along to migration to Miami. This is another data point. You could look at driver's licenses. California to Miami is up 61%, and then New York. So this is the same states, right, Chandra,
Yeah.
that are moving here.
Yeah. Yeah. Not much has changed there. It's pretty consistent.
Yeah, okay. And this is another interesting stat that feel free you guys could use. This is coming from the Florida's Office of Economic and Demographic Research. Take a look at how many net new residents per day in Florida. Amazing, 1,142. All right, so let's move along next to our age distribution, this population, and you could take a look at how it compares to 2011. We'll try to get the 2022 stats, but this is taking a look at it over the 10-year period. And Chandra, when I look at this one, what are your thoughts when you look particularly at the 35 to 44, essentially even, but when you look at 45 to 54, we have an increase, and
Mm-hmm.
those are home buyers, right?
Those are home buyers. And I think that, first, millennials are the largest population, right? So, and I think it's easy to think of millennials as like they're all 25, but in reality, some are in their 40s,
Yeah.
right? So
Right.
that's why you're seeing that. So yeah, these are all home buyers.
Yeah. So that's great news there. Okay, we're gonna have a little fun here on the program. Wanted to ask you guys in terms of Miami Global. Do you know Miami Global? So these are some three questions. So if you guys could enter it in the chat, we'll see who's the winner at the end of the webinar. But these are some of the top questions. What are the top countries purchasing in South Florida? What is the top country purchasing in South Florida? That's number one. How many total countries purchase real estate in South Florida? All right. And then number three, what percentage of Florida global real estate sales are made in South Florida? We'll see. Type it in the chat. We'll see who could get all three. If you get that, you might get a badge, or I don't know what we could do. um, okay. Yeah. Thank you for everybody in the chat. All right. So let's start looking at some of the official stats that we're going to be releasing to the media today. You guys are getting it first. Median sale price. Let's see what happened in October 2023. No surprise, they are up once again. Single family up 7%, condos is up 4%. And this is 141 consecutive months of price appreciation. This is almost 11 years, Chandra, of continuous rise. That's one of that separates Miami from other markets, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's why in the beginning I mentioned location, location, location. Like Miami is a very unique market in the sense that everybody wants to be here. We saw major corporations moving here, moving their headquarters here. We attract more international buyers than anywhere else in the country. Investors want to be here, wealthy people want to be here, or at least invest here because of all of the tax savings. We have inventory for almost every price point and bracket, whether it's single family or the condo market. It's just our buyers here are just so diverse that I think that it keeps demand high. And we also saw the wealth migration here. It's just going to result in increase in home values and appreciation. So this is no surprise.
Yeah, yeah, no surprise. And actually, I keep tabs on the CoreLogic Case-Shiller Price Index, and it
Mhm.
ranks some of the top cities, right? And Miami's always one, two, and
Oh
three
yeah.
in terms of price appreciation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's take a look at Broward. The three counties follow a similar trend line and up again for single family and condos in Broward. Let's
Mhm.
move over to Palm Beach. Fresh stats being released today. And Palm Beach, even higher increase in median sale price there. Okay, so our graphics team put together or updated this graphic here. This is a historical look. Once again, for everybody who's following on social media, on LinkedIn, if you would like this PowerPoint, if you would like this graphic, put your email in the chat section. If you're on the Zoom, put your email in the chat section. I will email this PowerPoint to you afterwards. So yeah, thank you so much. And then so here's a look at median sale price through the years. I know we've been asked for this graphic, and it really shows the incredible that Chandra already talked about the increase. And we also have for Broward since 2008 that chart. And here's a look at Palm Beach, updated with October 2023 prices. Okay, and this is another talking point, right, Chandra? In terms of inventory, it is still below the average, the historical average. When we look at a little bit later, I believe we have the new listings are up for Miami, Palm Beach, and Martin and Broward. So that's great news. But inventory, we still need more, right? To get to.
Oh, yeah. We're at such a significant levels of low inventory to match demand that like it may come up a little bit like we see, but it's not going to be enough for the demand that's there. It's going to be absorbed pretty quickly.
Exactly. Okay. And then, so this is a graphic that really puts into perspective where Miami compares to global cities. Let's compare Miami to Tokyo, Beijing. You have New York there. And this is the value you get for $1 million. And this is put together by Knight Frank. Really amazing, right? How Miami compares to these major global cities, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's move along. This is another top talking point. We always get this. Hey, prices are increasing very fast. This sounds just, people say that this is like 2008. And Chandra, what would you answer to someone who asks you that question?
It's completely different. I mean, the drivers of what's motivating or causing prices to stay high or be high or whatever is completely different. I got into the real estate industry in 2008. My mother's been a realtor for 38 or 39 years now. And I remember that time very, very clearly. And you had people buying houses that had no business buying houses. It was completely different. I mean, for the past couple of years, anybody who's gotten a mortgage, they've compared to historically have had higher credit scores, have had higher income. I mean, just the requirements are actually in place compared to 2005 to 2008. You have a large buyer demographic right now that are actually qualified. Like you're going to always, everybody wants to buy a home, yes, but those who are actually able to obtain a mortgage are more qualified now than they've ever been because they're actually going through a strict requirement process. It's completely different. You didn't have fraudulent lending. And a major thing too is inventory, because at that time every other house was for sale. There was a lot of inventory at the time, whereas now we don't have enough inventory, so you have different things motivating the prices, right? So this could be a whole webinar in itself.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Another that was interesting. So you started in as a realtor in 2008, and
Yeah. So, I mean, my mom, she literally was like, I need help. I have some of my past clients who have a bunch of homes and, they can't afford it. So they need help doing either a loan mod or whatever. So they just went to her first. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'll just help you, like work with your clients and your past clients. And of course, since then to now, things have changed as far as the loan modification process, requirements, who was able to do all of that. But just know that it's a significant difference in just everything, and not just requirements for a buyer, just even for the professionals. There's a reason why, we don't have the term mortgage brokers anymore. Now they're loan officers. They changed that whole process, and who was allowed to help homeowners do certain things due to the excessive borrowing, the fraudulent loans, and things like that. So, yeah, I got into the industry during a very, very interesting time, to say the least. We had clients that were making $8 or $9 an hour that had 7 homes in the state of Florida. That you're not going to see that now. You got buyers, jumping through hoops and willing to give up limbs in order to qualify for a mortgage and buy it. It's just completely different. The requirements and just the buyer qualifications overall now compared to then.
Yeah, well, that's super interesting. Yeah, excellent. Okay. And this is some of the points. If we were going to have another 2008, you'd be seeing a lot of foreclosures, and you are not. In the news release we're putting out today, distressed sales are 1% of total sales. Back then, back in 2008 or that era, it was 60%. So different ball game, exactly how you mentioned there.
Mhm.
Let me go over here to this. This is a slide that put together in terms of trying to sum up some of the reasons why buy a home now with the rate so high. Um, the buyers could always refinance in the future. But what do you think of these reasons here? And Chandra, any other reasons that we could help with realtors watching?
Well, I think that a lot of times people have short-term memory. Having a 3% interest rate was not normal. We can't personally, I don't like comparing our real estate market to that, especially 2021, because if anything, that was not normal. So in regards to the interest rates being higher, and maybe having to deal with some buyers that are just not as motivated to buy because um, I think I saw an article the other day that said that, now it's actually cheaper to rent than to own a home and things like that. But the fact of the matter is you're still paying something every month, regardless of if you own it or not. That's number one. And two, you don't gain equity on rent. Okay. So you still want to own an asset. There's a reason why owning a home is like the part of the American dream, right? The generational wealth that comes with that. And not to shame anybody who rents. At the end of the day, everybody deserves a roof over their head, right? So I'm not saying that, if you're renting, shame on you. Never that. However, I will always say that regardless of interest rates, it will be better to buy, because when people go buy a car, for example, most people don't even know their interest rate on their car, but they know their car payment, right? So I would suggest that buyers take that same approach. Can you afford the mortgage? If interest rates are high now and they're only going to go up, then you got in before it got up. If this is the highest it goes and it goes down next year, lucky you can refinance, but you got your property, So that's just how I see it.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. And that's, yeah, it's hard to time the market. And great point there on the car interest loans. I mean, you could say the same for credit cards. Credit card,
Absolutely.
yeah, are super high as well. So,
Mm-hmm.
okay, all right. So let's move on to closed sales. Let's look at the new statistics being released today. How are we doing comparison year over year? They are down year over year, but you have to look at 2022, uh, different time period there with the mortgage rates a lot higher now. But there's a look at Miami-Dade. Here's a look at Broward. They are down also in comparison to October 2022. And here's a look at Palm Beach. Oh yeah, here, Chandra, I had a question in terms of yeah, you had talked about this a little bit earlier about how 2021 you don't like to compare it there, but we're normalizing now. Uh,
Well, I think that the fact that the home sales are basically the same as 2021 is, to me, more so a testament to the demand that's still there, because interest rates are also significantly higher. 2021 and 2022, you had interest rates between what, 3 3.3, 3.5 to about 5.5. Right now, we're at like, I think 7.5, 7.8, like as of today or something. So the fact that we're still mirroring that, I don't know if it's more so normalizing or just that the demand for single family homes are just still there.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Still high demand, low supply market. Let's move over. Here's some ways all the realtors watching how to get micro data. This was a tip from our Miami leader, Natasha Tello. She says go on Matrix and use this feature here that lets you see what's happening in your micro market the last 7 days. Chandra, do you use this and how much does this help?
Yes, I absolutely love using this, simply because when you hit the customize button, you're able to ask or have Matrix feed you the information that you want as far as like time frame. So like on Mondays, for example, like I want to see what has happened in my subdivision in the last 7 days or something like that, right? So it's just very easy to do that, and it's very useful for listings too. So if you have an active listing that's sitting for a little bit, like that's actually part of like my seller value prop. Like I'm gonna always look at what's happening in the market while I have a listing. Just to make sure that like one, we're good with appraisal, and two, to make sure that the pricing is still reflecting the market, right? So this is just an easy way to do that because you can ask it to tell you, what's happened in the last 24 hours, 3 days, or 7 days, I believe, are the settings that are like automatically there. But I absolutely love it.
Yeah, no, that's a great tip. Yeah, even the last 24 hours, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Okay, here's some other ways that realtors could leverage microdata. That some of the services, products that we have. We have SunStats. Are you guys using this? This is a free Miami service for Miami members. It lets you create infographics and charts. Very easy to do. We also have zip code reports that are posted on sfmarketintel.com. Remember, I mentioned that website earlier today. We go ahead and check that out. It has every single zip code in Miami-Dade, Broward, Palm Beach, and Martin. And then, of course, RPR. That's a longtime favorite for Miami realtors. You should be using that on the Miami Gateway. And here's a look at
And just to
the,
go back really quick,
yeah,
the sun stats, I don't think people realize how powerful that is, especially RPR too. Like I actually use the RPR reports as on my site. So like I send them in my newsletter, and because it generates the report for you. I don't have to do the research. RPR is giving it to us, right? We have this as a member. It's a tool we have. However, SunStats, one of my favorite things to look at in SunStats is the percentage of closed sales that were cash. So it makes it very easy to combat some of the just the conversations you may be having. Like a perfect example of this would be I have a client now, they live out in Boston. However, they have a property here in Palmetto Bay. And they were like, oh, we're concerned about, no, I'm sorry, not Palmetto Bay, in Pinecrest. And they were like, oh, we were concerned about the interest rates. And I had just looked up the stats on SunStats and I saw that I didn't see October yet, but I saw for September that almost 80% of the sales that happened in Pinecrest were cash, So I mean, let's be honest, 80% of the buyers looking in Pinecrest are not necessarily concerned about the interest rate. They're probably a cash buyer. So that's the way that I like to use this stuff. And SunStats is RPR to me is there's a lot of information. However, SunStats, I feel like it gives you just like the key things like immediately for either the zip code, a neighborhood, a city. I absolutely love it. And then you can even tell it to just give you for single family homes, if you want it to include townhouses and condos. It's amazing. So I just wanted to throw that there because it's a very powerful tool.
yeah. No, no, thank you. I mean, I love that. I took some notes there. Wow, 80% cash in Pinecrest. I wasn't aware it
Yes. And
was
then
that
like
high.
40% in Palmetto Bay. So I'm like, now granted, like Homestead it was only like 8% were cash, but still it allows for you to really know what's going on in the market and what type of buyer you're probably going to have for a listing, right? So it's powerful information.
Yeah, no, I love it. And then also on SunStats, I know that we've had this question before because if you go onto SunStats today, yeah, you'll only see September. But I
It
believe,
updated to October now. It shows October now.
oh, it does show. Okay.
I think it showed October as of last week. I think it takes, I know RPR takes about a week for previous month's data to show. SunStats may take a couple days more than RPR, but October is showing now.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah. I was gonna say because SunStats they use the Florida Realtors research, uh,
Right.
and then so what Florida Realtors and what we do and what NER does is that because not all realtors close their sales right at the end of September 30 for the last day in September, we give them 15 days extra to make sure that they close their sales. So for instance, for October, we start calculating that October stats the on November 15th. November
Mm-hmm.
15th, and then that's why we're here on the 21st of November with October stats, is because we wanted to make sure we get all those stats accounted for because like I said, realtors, not everybody closes it right by the end of that last day. So
Right.
awesome. All right. All right. Great job there. So let's move on to new pending sales. Interesting stats here. Best indicator of future closed sales. Take a look here. This is new pending sales are up year over year. That is a great sign, especially if when you look at single family new pending sales in Miami-Dade, they're up double digits. So that's could be a little preview of what we'll be seeing when we get together next month for the November stats. Then we had look at Broward, essentially even there for total sales, single family are up, and Palm Beach up across the board. So that is great news there for the Palm Beach market. All right, let's move over to dollar volume, another important indicator for all of us following the real estate market, sum of all sale prices. And take a look at these numbers. Chandra, 1.69 billion in Miami-Dade, 1.21 billion in Broward, 1.45 billion in Palm Beach. Chandra, this is just 1 month. This shows you the power, right, of the industry we're in.
Yeah, and it also says that home values have gone up a lot
Yeah.
because the number of sales didn't necessarily change. However, the dollar volume did.
Yeah, 100% correct. Yes. All right, so let's take a look at months of supply. So this is a meaningful indicator of market conditions. So 6 to 9 months is a balanced market. Less than 6 months is a seller's market. And then more than 9 months is a buyer's market. So obviously, for the last several years, we've been in a seller's market. But when we look here at the stats, it could be changing. We'll get to that a little bit later. But I wanted all the realtors following, maybe if you're new, especially new to real estate, this is a way to calculate months of supply. You could do it for your neighborhood, city, where you're farming exactly. This is how to do it, the formula. And so let's go over to the stats for Miami-Dade, 5.3 months. So that is a seller's market. But take a look at condos. We are now moved. This is the first time I've seen this in quite a while. Condos are now in a balanced market. We have 6.3 months in condos, and then for single family, we're at 4 months. Chandra, what are your thoughts there? That now we're in a balanced market for condos.
I'm not too surprised because that's where the inventory lies.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
That's where the inventory is, and then so we'll look at Broward. Total for October is 4.1 months, and then you can take a look at single family and condos for Broward. Move over to Palm Beach. We're at 3.9 months for all properties. So seller's market across the board there. And then so let's take a look at 1 million and above. I used to say that that's luxury, but for Miami, it's higher now, right? That's one question I wanted to ask you. I know when I was speaking with Christina Papas, and she said that yeah, 1 million and up is no longer a luxury. It should be higher. What are your thoughts there for the when you
Oh
talk about
God.
Miami?
I mean, in like 2019 or like 2018 even, I want to say that like luxury was 1.2, and that was before the
Yeah.
craziness. So 1 million is basically, sounds terrible, but like just above the average buyer. Like it's, our home prices are just significantly increased. So 1 million is not luxury. Not
Yeah.
anymore. No.
Yeah, exactly. um, but here's a look at the 1 million and up properties. It's at 11.5 months. And I know we've talked um, with many brokers in Miami-Dade, and they talk about 11.5 months. That's normal for the 1 million and above. It takes that much time to sell those type of properties.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and so let's take a look at different price points. Um, and when you look at months of supply, yes, overall we're in a seller's market for single family and now balanced for condos. But when you take a look at I'm sorry, the green, I didn't have it here. That's single family, and then the blue is condos. And so you could see 1 million and up. Well, actually, then let's move into 600 to a million. It's 8.4 months. So that's on the higher end of the balanced market, almost uh, a buyer's market. But it's interesting, Chandra, you could do this with different price ranges and neighborhoods, right?
Absolutely.
Got the different price buckets.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
All right, let's go over the hot markets, the hottest markets. So we do this by months of supply, the lowest months of supply, and the hottest market in single family for Miami-Dade is Miami Gardens, 2.1. And then for condos, it's Kendall, super low at 1.4. Chandra, I know you're in the Palmetto Bay, Pinecrest area. I don't see them here, but any of these markets that, well, actually, Color Bay. I don't know if you work
Yeah.
there.
Cutler Bay and Homestead is not surprising. And I think it's because, especially Homestead, that's where a lot of the affordable single family homes tend to be compared to like the rest of the county. So demand was extremely high, or has been extremely high in Homestead. And we all know they're not making land anymore, but Homestead had a lot of land. So there's been a lot of new construction being built down there too, to kind of meet the demand. But even then, still only 2.2%. What's interesting though is that like I've recently had two listings in Miami Gardens, and it's insane, the demand. Like I put a listing up in Miami Gardens, and I mean the number of calls, the number of offers even now is absolutely crazy. But I think it's because, again, it's location. It's close to all the major highways. You have the stadium, it borders Broward. It's close to Aventura. It's just such a, it's not central, but it's such an easy place to live and then have access to so many different places. So the top three are not surprising at all for me based on just my experience.
Wow, yeah, that was super interesting on Miami Gardens, how those listings are flying.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, interesting. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at Broward, the hottest markets in single family. Sunrise takes the number one spot, just 1.5 months of supply in Sunrise. And then over in condos, Davie is number one at 1.6 months. Super low inventory there. Talks about exactly what you're saying, the
Mhm.
demand. All right, Palm Beach County, Royal Palm Beach Village takes the number one spot in single family, and Green Acres is number one for condos. Again, we have these graphics on sfmarketintel.com. You could download them there. We've also posted them on social media, so you feel free to guys to share these and to tell Miami's story. Here's a look at Martin County, Salerno, and Palm City take the top spots. Active inventory. Let's take a look at this, another important metric to keep an eye on. And they're up across the board, Miami-Dade. So great news, but exactly what Chandra was saying earlier about how we still got more to go to get to that average.
Mhm.
All right, median percent of price received, useful indicator of the market recovery. And this has never been an issue here in South Florida. It's always um, been around 100%, but that's how much you're getting here when you post a listing, 97%. Chandra, I always look at that. You see where the graphic almost seems like it's flying off the board. Those were those crazy years.
Yep.
Incredible.
Oh, interesting too. These stats you can get on Sunstats. Like I'll pull them from Sunstats too. So let's say you're going on a listing appointment somewhere, you can actually like pull up in that specific neighborhood or zip code or whatever and see, um, the original price versus the sales price. And I love, again, I love Sunstats and I love RPR just for that, because you can pull all of this from that.
Yeah, and I'm a stats guy. I love Sunstats too. And
Mhm.
actually, this chart is from Sunstats. I got
Oh,
um, all these when I go back here, like this. I got all this from Sunstats, guys, and
yeah.
this is something you could get very quickly. It's very easy to use.
Mhm.
So we definitely recommend Sunstats. So let me get back to median time to contract. How many days does it take to come to terms in South Florida? Let's take a look. Miami-Dade, we're even year over year, 30 days come to terms, and Broward is 25, Palm Beach is 26. Um, I always, when I think of this, I always think of one of the top economists that I enjoy following is his name's Logan on Housing Wire. Actually, he
Mhm.
was at NER NXT. I met him for the first time. Thank you to Gay for introducing me to him. But he talks about how when the time to contract is a teenager, that's not healthy, right? So we were at a teenager. It was like at 9 days at one point when you talk about a couple of years ago. So now
Yeah.
we've graduated and we have a nice job. We're at 30.
We're mature now.
We're mature. Yeah. Yeah. So the market is doing great right now at 30 days from Miami-Dade. All right. So let's go over some of the top talking points that we've been through. Thank you for everybody who's hung on Zoom and on LinkedIn. Thank you so much for following us. Just a recap. Inventory is we still have more to go. We talked about that. We talked about mortgage rates, and this is actually going to be on our news release today. Our chief economist, she says it's going to get to 5.75 by the end of 2024. So that's good news for the market. And then, so let's see who won the global study questions. What is the number one country purchasing in South Florida? It is Argentina, the home of Lionel Messi, his native home. Argentina. So let me look in the chat to see who won that. Thank you for all the posts and the comments. Um, Let me take a look here. Yes, you will get the PowerPoint and video. Yes, I will send that to you. Go ahead and put your email in the chat, and I will make sure to get it to you. Okay, so we had a guess about Venezuela. Patricia guessed Canada. All right, great. Yeah, so it looked like nobody had it, but thank you for the guesses there. It's Argentina. I do see some other questions there in the chat, so I'm going to get to that. The next question was how many countries purchase real estate in South Florida? Answer is 54. And I don't believe, yeah, no one got that one right. 54 countries, the number one destination for global buyers. And then what percentage of South Florida global real estate sales are made in South Florida? This is one to remember, 53%. And Chandra, I always like to look at this. Number two is Orlando. Look at the separation.
It's night and day.
Yeah, night and day. Now, since I'm here in the chat, let me look at some of the. I did have see some questions. Um, Luciana, thank you for the question. Where can you view these reports of Miami-Dade? Yeah, it might not be on there. It will be on sfmarketintel.com by 5 p.m. We are updating that today. You'll get them all there. sfmarketintel.com. One basic living. Okay, and then thank you, Guillermo Fernandez. Thank you. He wrote down sfmarketintel.com. Thank you for helping on the chat. Really appreciate it. Okay, great. Thank you guys. All right. So tools and resources, we talked about some of these, but we just wanted to emphasize what our members should be using that are free. We talked about it. Chandra, here you go, SunStats. You should be using that. And we also have co-branded materials for all of our Miami members. You guys could co-brand this with your logo. We have our 20 reasons to buy and live in South Florida, our top rankings, and there's our website / co-brand. All right, Chandra, these are new templates that we've added. I don't know if our members out there should be using. This is a free service, Photify. It's essentially for realtors that are on the go. You guys are going from listing to listing. Maybe you don't have the social media graphics or design. Use our Miami Photify. It's free. We have these new templates that you could put your name, your information, your headshot, and now we added. You could add your company logo. Chandra, members should be using this. This is a free service that we have for them, no?
Listen, Miami Realtors provides the most tools, like compared to any other association that I've ever seen. And Photify is only going to get better because the association listens to us. So if we say, hey, we think it should have, these types of marketing materials, they'll probably actually put it, right? So I would definitely use it as a tool. Quick side note, the Photify does not necessarily work on like a desktop. It is meant to be mobile, right? So the URL that's there, use it on your phone, and it is very, very easy to use.
Yeah, no, thank you, Chandra. That's excellent. Thank you for that testimonial. We definitely need that there. Okay, here's a look at market support. These are some of the examples that you will see when we push to live. We're going to push to live on our website a little bit later this afternoon, but these are an example of what you could see. And what I don't have here is we also have zip code reports. So you also have access to that and a lot more information. We have our market focus videos, our infographics. You'll be seeing these on social media. We have our market focus reports that come out on the first Monday of the month for our members. Zip code and city reports, we talked about that. RPR, we talked about that. And here's our help. You need any help on Photify, you need help on RPR, you need help on SunStats, write down this email, this phone number. These are the trainers that could help you. They put on classes, by the way, the Photify classes, RPR classes, right here, trainers at miamire.com. Okay, Chandra, we're coming up here towards the end, but I wanted to ask you about here. This is cross-market demand. Realtor.com does this very interesting tool. It lets you see which counties are looking at Miami-Dade counties. No surprise, New York is number one, but how can a realtor use this, leverage this to get more business?
Relationships. We
Yeah.
tend to think of our business and building relationships with potential buyers and sellers, and not necessarily with other real estate agents, realtors, and brokers. So I would build relationships with agents and brokers in those markets because they're the ones who have the people who might be looking to move here. So that's what I would do.
Excellent. Okay, here's a look at Broward. Again, if you guys wanted to find this, an easy way to find this data is all you have to write is go in a Google search and write cross-market demand. It's at the top of the list. And then there you could put in any county in the United States. It's an incredible tool. And this shows you that New York is number one, looking at Broward, Georgia, Atlanta area is number two, and then Cook County number three, Palm Beach. Always like looking at this. Look at all the New Yorks that are looking at Palm Beach, the different New York counties.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Connecticut as well, New Jersey, Palm Beach. All right. So here is my information, Chris at miamiare.com. Like I said, if you wrote down your email in the chat, I'll send you the link to the video and also to the PowerPoint. And then here's our social media information. It is 11:54. Chandra, thank you so much on the Thanksgiving week. Very valuable. I took down a lot of notes. And any final comments to the realtors watching?
No, well, one, I'll say thank you for actually attending this because I know some people tend to check out during a week like this. It's Thanksgiving week. But I think it's a very big testament to you and investing in your business and wanting to be knowledgeable despite all of the stuff that may be happening at home preparing for the holidays. The other thing that I do want to mention is as Miami members, the association did launch Intramatrix. So we are sharing data and listings with FMLS, that's Georgia, Atlanta, Metro Atlanta and the surrounding areas. We are sharing with Mexico. Hello, major international buyer market here, right? And we're also sharing with CRMLS, which is the largest MLS out in California, which we just saw they are always some of our top people looking into our market and relocating here. So I would definitely use that as a tool. It is only to enhance our business. So that's why the association launched that. So use it. It's called Intramatrix. When you log into Matrix, it is the last tab all the way to the right, at the top right. So just wanted to shout that out so that you guys are able to use that as a tool as well.
Yeah, no, thank you for doing that. That's excellent points. I love it. And I just wanted to say thank you, Chandra, for taking the time today to help all of our members. We're lucky to have you as a leader. Remember, guys, she volunteers her time to help the association, to help all of our members. So we're very lucky to have you, Chandra, and I hope you have an amazing Thanksgiving.
No, likewise. Thank you, Chris.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time. Guillermo says thank you to all and happy Thanksgiving to all. Thank you, Guillermo. Thank you to everybody on the chat, on LinkedIn and social media. We will see you here next month around the same time period. So thank you all. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you all as well. Take care.
Thank you. You
Bye.
too.